And welcome back. You're watching Wisconsin Family. We are at Dentistry from Madison, the doctor's office of Dr. J. Hazen. It's on West Washington Avenue. And thanks for having us here today, Dr. J.
Thanks for coming back.
Do love coming here. I got to mention parking lot in the back, so parking downtown, not a problem.
I'm so glad you said that. It is so nice and easy. You think about downtown and sometimes you think challenging parking. Not the case.
All right, well, we want to talk about tooth whitening today. It's really become a craze, and everybody seems to be doing it or interested in it. So I'm wondering, what do you recommend when folks come into your office and say, I'm looking to brighten up my smile?
Well, you know, a lot of things that we need to look at is that patient a good candidate for whitening? And sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, based on what the reason that their teeth are dark really is. So some types of stain are really treatable with whitening and some aren't.
Ah, good to know.
And a lot of folks, of course, start with or try at-home solutions. Talk to us a little bit about the differences between at-home solutions and something that you do here in the office.
A lot of over-the-counter is kind of what we call the home, or things that you can get outside of dental practice, are basically materials that are maybe a little less in strength because the supervision isn't quite there for the whitening, and those companies don't want anybody to hurt themselves. A lot of them do work pretty well. I've been surprised by some of the ways that people have whitened their teeth, but you know, really in the dental office, when we make some trays that fit the teeth, that intimate contact of the tray against the teeth with the material really gets more of a full whitening. Sometimes strips and things that are stuck on the teeth may whiten the spots that they make contact with, and you may get more of a blotchy whiteness. May improve, but maybe not achieve the result that patients want. And a lot of times that's when they'll come and see us.
I've certainly seen that look a couple times.
So can you talk a little bit more about the trays? And because some of the home whitening kits come with kind of a generic tray that you can use, and you make it custom.
Yeah, I really think that to get the best result, you need something that actually fits your teeth, not everybody's teeth. And like so many things, when we've got trays that are made to fit a model, and we put material in those trays, it actually holds that material against the teeth so that we get really good contact, and the whitening is much more efficient.
Heck, you're doing it anyway. You might as well get the best
Get it
results
right.
you can. And I bet that makes for a more comfortable tray as well when it's custom.
Sure. One of the problems with whitening material is if it does get on your gum tissue in excess, it can create a sore or a minor burn, given different percentages. So the trays help to keep that not from happening.
Let's talk more about that, just the comfort level of the process. Now, you mentioned it getting on your gums. That could be painful, so you got to obviously do it correctly. And also, my question is about tooth enamel. Is there any potential damage to the tooth enamel?
They've been studying whitening for years, since it came out in the early 90s, and they take even electron micrographs, which are fantastic pictures and images of tooth structure, and we found that it does not affect the structure at all. The whole idea is that enamel, although it's really hard and smooth, is actually quite porous, so it will hold on to certain colors and stain over time. The materials we use, whether it be a carbamide peroxide or a hydrogen peroxide, which are different lengths of time that we might use each of those products, those will break down that stain on the surface and really not affect the enamel or the tooth at all.
Well, that's good news.
Can you tick off some of the big bad guys that are most likely to stain your teeth?
Oh,
Probably some of my favorites. I have a
yeah,
feeling.
unfortunately, red wine's a big one, and a lot of the other teas and coffee and things that we take for granted. A lot of them are acidic in nature, so they kind of grab onto the tooth structure and stay there.
And part of a daily habit too.
Perhaps, yeah.
What's your take on some of the home toothpaste? These days we're seeing charcoal and lemon and baking soda, all kinds of different
Charcoal is a
toothpaste.
big one that's out there right now.
Yeah.
Charcoal is big, and there's still going to be a lot of studies that come out of that. We're always a little bit worried about people that are whitening their teeth with an abrasive. Years ago, there was a product called Pearl Drops that actually was like using Comet on your teeth.
Oh my.
And it could make them very, very sensitive. I think that the charcoal does break down pretty well, and we'll have to wait and see all the outcomes of that. But I mean, I know people are getting good results with that. I'm a little worried about the acidic things like lemon and other things like that.
Sure, right. And for viewers at home, I'm sure they're thinking, many of them already having had whitening experiences, maybe would like some more or have been thinking about it. Is there anybody that wouldn't benefit from a whitening treatment?
That's a great question, because a lot of times people do come in thinking that all they want to do is whiten their teeth, and that's when we find out by looking at their teeth that maybe they've got a crown on a front tooth. Porcelain is not going to get lighter or darker over time, even though it may be the tooth that all of a sudden sticks out because other things have changed. Fillings are probably not going to change in color, although some of them may get a little stain. They probably won't lighten with a whitening material. So all of those materials that are already on the teeth may create something where the patient whitens and his teeth actually look worse after. So not everybody's a perfect candidate for whitening, and there are all kinds of other types of cosmetic procedures that we can do, whether it be maybe whitening and changing some fillings. Maybe a patient's got some broken dark teeth and those aren't the best things for them. Maybe veneers or crowns might be better depending on their situation.
So it's always good to ask a professional.
Yeah, let's go down that road just a little bit, because you do general dentistry here, but you also do the cosmetic dentistry. And we've talked a little bit in the past, and I know from my firsthand experience that you can do just the smallest things to maybe fix that tiny thing that's been nagging you for years, and that's what you did for me. And I'm still amazed when I go in there to floss and I'm like, oh my gosh, that little problem isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So when we think cosmetic, it doesn't have to be a big
That's right.
overhaul.
That's right. We're always trying to be conservative with our treatment. The less you do, the less you need to maintain. Sometimes just trying to get symmetry in beauty is somewhat symmetrical. So if we can get one side of your smile to look like the other side, we get a really nice result, and things don't jump out. If there are edges of your teeth that aren't even with the other side and we add a little bit of material, maybe whiten along the way, there's a lot of little nuances we can do that just make the biggest difference. And it's funny how often we actually do help patients that hate their smile, but then a little tweak and they love it.
And you think it's going to need so much work.
Right.
Back to whitening, as we're about to wrap up our segment here, can you give us just a general idea of cost?
Whitening is somewhere between $250 and $300, depending on the type of material, the trays you might use. This is if you're doing it in a dental office. There are a lot of offices that do in-office whitening, but a lot of those offices also give you trays to take home too. My experience has been some of the in-office whitening can make your teeth really hypersensitive for a while, so we kind of like to just give you the material to take home. You're getting the same long-term effect and results with a little less cost and a little less discomfort. And now the trays and the material really do keep whitening very comfortable.
All right.
Oh, sounds good.
Thank you so much, Dr. J. Brightening
Thank
our
you.
smiles just in time for the new year, too. Alrighty. We want to say thank you to all of our guests for coming in today, and thank you for watching. Happy holidays, Happy New Year from all of us at Channel 57.